So, I said I would talk about this type of thing in a series that I was gonna make called Forest from the Trees, as opposed to focusing on just American issues. So, yeah. Okay. Basically, part one of Forest from the Trees. Uh, Viktor Orban, the Hungarian Prime Minister since 1998 to 2002 and 2010 to now. He didn't show his true power level in the beginning, as he chose a center-right audience to appeal to him, basically using their denial and mask-on sensibilities. The irony of the right's Jewish conspiracy against them is funny, especially since George Soros, who funded him, apparently. So, they should love Soros based on Orban's true self as an open anti-race mixing candidate. But my guess is this wasn't that super flaunted yet. So, you know, George Soros is probably a better dude than that. In the 90s, he was considered to be an outsider of the post-Cold War communist politics. So I assume he was a fresh face like Trump seemingly was during the Drain the Swamp rhetoric. In his younger days, Orban would join the Anti-Communist Federation just to cement the image. He was open about wanting a free market economy and oversaw Hungary and its place in the military defense force NATO in 1999, which at the time defended against communist Russia. There was a separation of Hungary Party of Fidesz, which was a socialist left-wing organization, and this rank was voted to be separate from Hungary Prime Minister. So Orban stepped down himself. Orban, for a short time after, was vice president of the European People's Party, which was a conservative Christian group being labeled as democratic. He joined Fidesz, but lost to his rivals in 2006. Orban, by mere luck, had gained popularity after his political opponent lied about its economic status in order to pull in more votes. Around 2009 to 2010, Orban was seen as the better and honest candidate, being re-elected as prime minister. In 2012, Orban took advantage of the parliament supermajority, and Orban's government cracked down on the media and press. In 2013, Orban adjusted prices for homeowners, reducing the cost, which added more popularity to his name. He and the Democratic Christian Party would win again, achieving Orban's third term. The political opponent pointed out economic stagnation, increasing poverty, and overall corruption of Fidesz. The warning was ignored and drowned out by his popularity, Orban claiming the opposite, that things were flourishing in 2014, winning over 50% of the time. In a speech in 2014, he claimed he wanted to build a work-fair society, but most disturbingly, an illiberal democracy. His models of interest, China, Turkey, and Russia of all things, almost like a slap in the face to NATO. In 2015, he blocked the artificial replacement via war displacement immigration, not allowing people from the Middle East and Africa. He claimed it was Germany's problem and disapproved of immigration settlements, as unfortunate as these places could be, like American cages and child-parent separation. But anyways, he didn't believe the European Union should be taking in immigrants and used the turmoil and confusion to bolster Viktor even further. He ended up in his fourth term without anyone openly opposing him. The mask shattered off in the later years and vacuumed it up, pretending to speak to all Hungary people, saying, quote, Hungarians have given us a directive on three things. First of all, to stop immigration across Europe. They've tasked us to defend the Europe of nations, and they've tasked us to defend Christian culture in Europe. His rhetoric, the silhouette of a clear tyrant, blaming them as threat and not a symptom of the industrial war complex and its displacement, or angry people who have justified reasons based on being left to ruin. But this isn't a matter of misunderstanding. This is how Orban just thinks. And this is from Britannica.com. Okay, in order to not cite direct right ideology, he once again uses his centrist appeal by saying we shouldn't be on the side of Russia or Ukraine, but between the two. But this really only means Ukraine gives up and be forced into false unity. So Russia would simply get away with what they want. Overall, this fits because he values the Russian model. DailyNews.com, quote, Viktor Orban is a racist authoritarian and American right should stop elevating him. So at the CPAC, he once said bluntly, and throwing away the vacuum, quote, I do not wish to become a people of mixed race, which disgusted his advisor. Resigning publicly, expressing his ideology is that aligned with Joseph Goebbels. He is a standard eugenicist, as he was proud to have cut abortions in half. Anti-immigration has eugenic ideology roots, and he did the standard Weimar Republic talking points by being massively against LGBT. Believes there's no right to self-identity, and marriage is between a man and a woman, of course, to him. Alright, so I pulled this last article from theamericanconservative.com called American Orbanism. There's this disturbing and heavily looming emphasis and meme of American conservatives who are fans of his attack on what people like Victor call degeneracy. The American conservative meme who favor this fascist is called American Orbanism, as they realize he will solve their LGBT problem and end us all. So, on this article, it's fucking weird. There's people literally comparing the Nazi banners and comparing that to the LGBT banners, you know, that street with the banners everywhere. Yeah, there's people comparing that, and there's people saying, like, the only thing the media has to say about him is he's bad. But, like, you could find, like, his whole, like, background and what he's done. So I feel like that article and the people in it are lying. And, you know, these people are against LGBT, comparing it to the Nazis, but these are the types of people who would be against LGBT, you know, because the Nazis, they did the book burning and burned lots of, like, gender literature, I believe. Yeah. So this is part 1 of Forest from the Trees. See ya.